Namaskar, Kurumjeri. I welcome you to Khonthang Discourses, a series of webinars on different aspects of Manipuri dance. These webinars have been organized to celebrate 25 years of Nandanik movement arts. Namaskar. We bring you the second episode of Khonthang Discourses, and today we present a very special artist, somebody who has been extremely inspirational in my own dance journey. Today we present SNA Awardee Smt Priti Patel. She has dedicated her life to the propagation of Manipuri dance, and she has also brought new thought and broken boundaries in extending the tradition of Manipuri dance. We present to you Priti Patel.
Kurumjari, Namaskar. On the joyous occasion of Kang Chingba, Nandanik Movement Arts is delighted to celebrate the rituals and arts of Manipur with illustrious choreographer and renowned Manipuri dancer Srimati Priti Patel. In Manipur, dances are not just forms of art, they are a way of life. As expressive traditions, dance is closely interwoven with the fabric of Manipuri society, where one reflects the other. Srimati Priti Patel continues to preserve the essence and authenticity of Manipuri dance that was imparted to her through different systems of instruction. She was initiated to dance at an early age by eminent Manipuri dance gurus, late Guru Bipin Singh and the Jhaveri sisters. She underwent rigorous training with her gurus, most notably with Padma Shri Srimati Darshana Jhaveri and SNA Awardee Guru Srimati Kalavati Devi. She excelled as a danseuse in this form, especially in the Vaishnavite Ras Leela tradition. Her quest for mastery and perfection made her delve deeper into the pre-Vaishnavite art forms, such as the martial form of Thangta and the ritual tradition of the Maite community, the Lai Harauba. In this quest for knowledge, she received extensive training by her guru, late Padma Shri Oja Thingbaijan Babu Singh, and Oja Khetri Mayum, along with Horani Savi Devi in the Sankirtana and Ras Leela traditions. By eminent scholar late Padma Shri Pandit Ningtho Khongjam Khela Chandra Singh in the Thangta tradition. From late Padma Shri Maharaj Kumari Vinodini Devi, an eminent Manipuri writer and scholar, Srimati Priti Patel received various teachings on the origin, history and importance of Manipuri dance, culture and society. Srimati Patel, with the artists from her company Anjika, has performed in several esteemed dance festivals all over the world. They have won prestigious laurels and accolades. She has received innumerable awards in appreciation for her commitment and excellence to this dance form. The Raza Foundation Award for Contribution to Manipuri Dance, Fulbright Fellowship for Performing Arts, the second Mrinalini Sarabhai Award for Excellence in Classical Dance, and the most prestigious Sangeet Natak Academy Award. Anjika, Center for Manipuri Dance and Movement Therapy, was inaugurated in December 1995. Srimati Patel's efforts has shown path-breaking progress in the therapeutic impact of dance on children with special needs. SNA Awardee Srimati Priti Patel will be in conversation with the Artistic Director of Nandanik Movement Arts, Srimati Poshali Chatterjee. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Namaskar. I welcome you to this very special interview of one of the most eminent exponents of Manipuri dance, Srimati Priti Patel. This is part of our Khonthang Discourses as part of Nandanik Movement Arts 25-year celebration. Priti Di has very graciously accepted to be part of this interview and to share with us her wonderful journey. So without much ado, I will start off with my questions. First of all, Priti Di, thank you for being here and making time for us.
May I call you Paushali or Bully?
Whatever you wish. I know that Paushali may not come very easily.
Yes, yes. No, so lovingly we call Paushali Bully. And I must thank you so much for having invited me to this session. Also, it's a pleasure, not just a pleasure, but, it's an honor because whenever I find that someone wants to know about what we've done, I feel that it's a huge honor to be given that attention. And I thank you for asking me. And it would be really, I know, the most enjoyable session I've had.
Thank you so much. I think it's just your humility which comes through, Priti, when you say that. We are honored to be talking to you about your journey. So I'll start off with my first question, very simple question. What is it that attracted you to Manipuri dance?
Paushali, it is really, I was destined to do Manipuri dance. It was destiny. I was very young, when I come from a very big Patel family, and my grandfather was very, very forward-thinking, individual person, and for his times. And he said, why should all the women, spend their time in the kitchen when it should be, they should be doing something. So he, of course, the Patidar Samaj was formed, and he invited our Guruji from Bombay to direct and choreograph these dramas for the family. So if one of my aunts was very tall, became the hero, a very petite one, beautiful, aunt of mine became, the heroine, and youngest. So, dance dramas like Shakuntala, Nal Damayanti, and all that. And it was all in Gujarati. First time when I came under the tutelage of Guruji. And after, I remember I was actually attending the classes at Max Muller Bhavan run by Srimati Amla Shankar. So he once met my mother because at the rehearsals, and he said that, why don't you train this girl in any one form of dance, whichever you prefer, whether it is Kathak or Bharatnatyam or what. So my mother just looked at him and said, you are such a great guru, such a great master. You are standing in front of us. Why should I send her anywhere else? And that's how it started. He started coming home. And I have to tell you one thing, that how the family has played an important role, because I would come back from modern high school at 3:30, and Guruji would be sharp there at 3:30. You know about his timing.
Yes,
you know
yes,
how.
yeah.
I mean, that's what it was just amazing. And I would quickly rush, and there would be a chair in a corner of the room where my grandfather used to come and sit and watch. So, and Guruji came home. Now, this part, many people don't know, about how I started. But this is, he used to come home to teach me. Kalaben used to come home at Roland Road house of ours. And it was only when I was 17 years old and, I was passing school, class 10, that he came one day and said that, Priti, ab hum kal se nahi aayenge. If you are interested and if you're really serious, now you come to our school. And this is how, And then, of course, it's that I gave up a year of academics and then went into serious training with under Guruji.
I think that was something actually coming to your house.
Yes, this is what I'm, it was, whoever I tell, they can't believe it. Such a great master. He came for those many years to the house to teach, which is something which is very, very amazing.
Yeah, really, it's wonderful. I mean, I've heard this before, but every time I hear it, I feel amazed once again. Okay, so next question from our side, Priti, is that tell us your experience about learning this dance form, because like many of us, we were people outside Manipur trying to learn this style. And what were the challenges, or what were the things that you could, pick up very easily? Did you find any challenge at all?
Look, I tell you very frankly that I was destined to do this, to take up dance and to pursue it. And that also Manipuri dance. When I was in college, you go through a lot of phases where you want to, you are into that rebellious phase in college days, where you want to try something. So I applied to NID, National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, this and that. Nothing worked out. I came back to dance. So, it somehow came to me also. The dance came to me, it never left me. And I remember my foundation was very strong, Koshali. My foundation, because when Guruji came home, all he did was teach me Bhangi Parade. All the 5 Bhangi Parade he taught me, and he would make me keep on doing that. So I kept doing it. If there were the stage pieces and all, I only learned from Darshnaben and Kalaben. So it was basically his foundation was, see, Guruji was at that time in 70 and early 80s, very vibrant, very strong, full of energy. And you were very young. Though I remember you because you were fabulous as Krishna. So, I remember, and I'm sure you also remember, that his energies were very strong. So he was a master, a true master, where you keep doing again and again. So that was that. See, in those days when all my friends went swimming and they went everywhere, and I was with my dance, I did get a little, I kept thinking, am I missing all that? So the challenge was to choose between this strong master and my peers. So that became a big challenge at that time. As I said, the dance came beautifully to me. That's what I felt. It was natural. It was as if it was part of me from day one. That's what I felt. So and then of course, the challenge later on was the Guruji's Tandava. Guruji's Tandava was very, very challenging, as you know, that, especially when he made us do the Sankirtana, and he imbibed the movements of Sankirtana in his compositions. But he did not go straight into that, into the movement. He first, I remember Oja Muyama came to Calcutta, stayed with at Bipin Pal Road.
Yes.
And there was Shanti Bala and myself, and we all took training from him in the Sankirtana style. And it was after that did he take the movement and incorporate it in the dance. So why that change was inevitable, though it had the flavor of Sankirtana movement, but it was dance-like. In the sense, it was Jagoi. So I felt that his total focus, which was on making the dance so not just forceful, but in such a way that it could stand on the same platform as the other dance styles. And that became a challenge. The third challenge was when he, made the repertoire, the solo dance repertoire, and it was like for 1.5 hours. Now that was killing, as you also know, because you've done it. And it was, going. But what was more killing, because his pieces were not ordinary pieces. They each had its own dynamics, whether it was the Lasya or the Tandava, whether it was, Mridu Datta Krishna Nartan, or whether it was, Khandita Naika, whatever. It had its own dynamics. So to keep that change in the whole repertoire, number one, and number two, the costume. You see, at that time, we were still unsure, even now, we're still unsure that what the costume should be for the solo dance. So it was like, crazy, changing from Krishna's costume to Radha's costume of Poloi, again to Panek, again to, the Krishna Paijom. So all that together was very challenging. So, but whatever it was, it's been a wonderful journey.
I know I can completely relate to the challenges, Priti, because I remember that when he used to compose and we would be really tired with all the movements, and then he'll say, okay, now I'll give you a resting movement, and that resting movement will be so difficult. And I used to tell him that, Guruji, is this rest? This is even more difficult than the actual, jumping movements. But he was like that, very keen to put very, very, rich movements everywhere. So, Preeti, my next question is that you saw Guruji's Guru Bipin Singh's, that is, choreographic process very closely. So, can you tell us a bit about it and what was your experience?
Whatever I am today, Paushali, it is because of Guruji, of Guru Bipin Singh. I learned, he had a great impact on me, and I learned so much from him. Because the whole thing was that he was he had no inhibitions. He was exploring all the time. And this quest to explore is something which I got from him. Whether it was music, or it was Tala system, or it was research, movement, everything. I mean, you look at him, he was overall, such a genius that when it came to movements, the inclusion of new movements from Sankirtana and beautiful this Swai Prabandha. Okay, the whole aspect of the Bhupali Rag and the bahun. What was amazing about Swara Prabandha is that he used the shlokas of the bahun, which describes the rag. And there are so many rag and raginis, and they all have their bahun. So from here, I composed Rag Belavali, and in Rag, and I use and I also that I use the bahun, the shlokas. So his whole approach to exploring new avenues, the talas, when you Kalia Daman, that was something which I had to learn. You see, Kalia Daman, because of the tal, which was beautiful, the Sapta tal, and also the movements. I mean, look at his approach. He was exploring new talas. He was exploring new music. He was exploring different movements. So that made an impression on me. I mean, I also imbibed that. So when that was what made me want to do my own thing. See, this experience that I didn't want it to only stay till there. You see, I wanted to take it forward, which I think that he wanted it also.
Yes, no, I quite understand and believe that, because I think all of us have been inspired to try something new, or, break the so-called boundaries by his attitude towards, Manipuri
Yes,
dance.
yes.
At it.
And he did break boundaries. He did break boundaries. So, that was a huge inspiration.
Yeah, I think he taught us not to just stay with whatever was there, but to kind of
Yes,
extend it and
yes,
take it forward. Yes, absolutely.
yes.
Okay, so my next question is, I think, one very interesting part of your career, which is when you and Shruti Bandopadhyay, you were, dancing together, and I still can visualize those beautiful presentations you made. So you started performing as a duo, and you also brought this very elevated kind of stage presentation to your performances. So can you tell us about the evolution from what you were doing earlier as a performer, and then how this evolution happened when you and Shruti were both performing?
See, every phase is beautiful in its own way. So when there were performances, we performed with Javeri sisters and Kalaben and Shanti Bala. It was beautiful in its own way, where the focus was on the dance, and the focus was there were no really lights and all that, lighting design and all that used at that time. But when our contemporaries, and when we saw that this was coming into focus, so then we also got inspired that we should have this stage presentation. So if you remember, our repertoire had all Guruji's items from all, whether it was Tanum Terena or it was Swara Prabandh, all these, or Shuk Sari Dwanda, these all were from Guruji's repertoire. But we gave it we gave it a different presentation. Two of us, we did positioning on stage. We did interesting positioning. We explored the lights. So then we had that time, then that inspired me to take training under Tapasda, and I apprenticed with him for 2 years. It was very hard actually, because to keep up with Guruji's timings, and Tapasda, who was working till 1 at night, theatre works till 1 at night. So it was really very, and then I apprenticed with him in Manjushri Chaki Shaurkar's Chitrangada, where actually I was helping in conducting or maneuvering the lights. And don't forget that we went for our first tour to USSR, the festival in USSR. And then, before that, Sangeet Nat Academy invited both of us to dance in Shimla. So with us was Daksha and Aditi and all our contemporaries, Sharmila Biswas. So all of us were there. So this that youthful enthusiasm to be at the same path as everyone, with our form, is something which we made us do this. We created very path-breaking choreographies, which was, Inner Fee, which was where we used I think it was the first time that cloth was used on stage. Yes. And it was, beautifully designed by Naveen Kishore. And that's when my light person, Samar Babuda, I call him, Samar Das, came, and he's with us even now. So you see that whole, with the costuming, the music by Sri Kumar Banerjee.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you see and in that music composition, then came Preyoshi, and all these music compositions we had Torunda. So you see, these were early days when we had such great, artists with us. And then, of course, Chitra, the ghost Chitrangada, where we, actually it took us such a long time to, because that time there was copyright by Shanti Niketan. Mm-hmm. So we had to get because we had used a poem, and it was written by, the script was written by Shruti's sister Shati. And therefore we had to, it was not the full dance drama. Yeah. So we had to, get the permissions. It took time to get permissions. Then the music was done by Sri Kumar Da. And, and then we were using Thangta and whatnot. So it was an amazing period or time for both of us. And I think that that has been really a very special time for both of us.
Yes, and I remember and watching all your performances with just wonder. I can only say it was just wonderful, those performances. Next question, Priti, you've already touched upon this a little bit, that you were kind of a protege, like a daughter to Maharani Binodini Ji. So can you tell us a little bit about your interactions and how she influenced your career?
Oh yes, a huge. She was a great mentor and guide, and she was, in fact, who inspired me to open our institution Anjika, and in Calcutta, and in fact, she introduced me to Pamu Chandra, Pandit Chandra Singh, and Oja Kumar Maibi, and all of them. So what she really, again, my presentations took a step forward, many steps forward from there, because she actually introduced me to the culture of the soil in Manipur. You see, she would show me photographs of her father in the in the costumes, and what the costumes were like, and the finesse of the costumes. Which that's how I started, almost getting those kind of costumes made. So when we opened Anjika, we did Maharas in Calcutta at Sangam at Fort William, and it was done exactly the way it was done in Manipur. And Paushali, I'm not exaggerating, but nowhere. I mean, it's very difficult to do Maharas. It's a ritual, and it has not been done outside Manipur, outside the temple. It has been the year Sangeet Natak Academy tried to do it. It rained so heavily that they could not even do it. So everyone was very apprehensive. You see, when I went to everybody and said that I want to start the center with the ritual of this, nobody would, they said, listen, we don't know if you'll be able to do it. But it was, I think, someone was moving me to do it. And then Maharaj Kumari, I got 40 artists from Imphal with about at least 10 gurus who took part. The bamboo which the mandap was made of came from Imphal. Okay, and Makhan Mani, he's the one who sat and designed it was amazing. I mean, how it happened, I don't know. Where the money came from, I don't know. Imasi would say, where will the money come from? So the designing of the whole mandap, she sat with Makhan Mani, because she said, I remember when I I took part in the Ras Leela in the Govindji temple. So the way, you have that where the circle is made with this, a cloth which is about 2 feet high, the boundaries. So that, the way it was, the applique, minute things. So all that she took care of. Then Oja Babu came to Calcutta, and he trained my student. I had little Radha Krishna who took part. Just before 2 days, 1 day before, we did Bhumi Puja. And Oja made us do the Achaupa Bhangi Pareng. And after we did the Achaupa Bhangi Pareng, he came in front of the Krishna and Radha, because they were in the center. And small, 2 little girls, Natasha and Dia. And he prostrated before them in absolutely, Ashtang in Pranam. And he said that in this 1 month of training you, if I had made any mistake, please forgive me. So from that time, they became Krishna and Radha. And I fasted. All of us fasted on the day of the Maharas. And, when it finished, we had the Gopi Bhojan. Exactly the way, how it was done, Gurli, I don't know. But it happened. Today, when it's like a dream. And if you ask me, I can't do it again. I don't know how it will happen again. But it just happened at that time. So these are the special, how to say, when I write my book, and I'm writing my book.
You are. That's great. That's great. No, I remember I was there, and it was something else because many of us, while we had been to Manipur, we would not have maybe had the chance to see a Maharaj like that. So it was quite something, and of course, first time in Calcutta, so it was a treat for everybody, and not just a treat. I think it was an experience, really.
Yes, experience, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's.
So I'll move on to my next question, which is about your choreography, which is, of course,
Yeah.
something else. You've done some really wonderful choreographic work, both independently and with others. So if you can tell us a little bit about how, your thought process and how you go about actually creating a choreography.
In my choreographies, it just a lot of times when I think too much, nothing happens. So, it has to just happen like that. It. For example, and I was very fortunate to be with Maharaj Kumari because she wrote a lot of my scripts. So I started with children's productions, which was very a pebet. It's a very beautiful folklore of Manipur. So that we did, which was again scripted by her, and from there, then of course I using the uh, it was 2000 when it was the 1,000 years of celebration of the Konarak festival. So they commissioned that, why don't you me to do something in the Manipuri style. So that's the time, I noticed that and I didn't know because all they are Shiva temples. So, it's basically Krishna based. Our Lord Krishna is the central figure. So what would I do? And then I read the book and I noticed that the stage was built in front of the Surya temple. So that gave rise to Suryagati. Now, Suryagati again went to Manipur. Again, it just happens like that. So went to Manipur, and I just one day, every year, I would go for about 2 months. So I was visiting a guru in the villages, a distant village. It was a long, long journey. And I went, and everyone, it was a gurukul. So all the students were sitting in a straight line. It just reminds you of the Japanese or the Chinese, one of these, martial arts
Training centers.
schools, and that discipline. And then he took me inside a small room. And I remember Lokendrajit was with me at that time. So there was a shrine, the pre-Vaishnavite shrine. That pre-Vaishnavite shrine had a beautiful canopy, which was in the colors of red, white and black. So I asked him that, what does this signify? So he said that this is the sun, the morning sun, the midday sun, and the night sun. That's it. Then that whole, fell into place there and there. That's what Surya Gati is all about. How the movement of the sun from morning to night.
Mhm.
And so morning was Luang, Mangang, and Kuman. So that's how the whole, the color scheme, everything it just kind of fell into place, and that production was done. So like that, we've had, inspirations. Then I had one very sad experience where one of our boys, Pungeva, he was a victim to the terrorism. So we paid a tribute to him in Kuman, the Black Sun, which I don't know if you may have seen it, because it was at the inaugural of Uday Shankar, one of the celebrations, which was Uday Shankar Festival by Sangeet Nat Academy, where we opened the festival with that. So it was again, about, and it was a very contemporary theme, and they were all boys in it. Only I was the female, but I acted as the mother, the female, the mother of Manipur, and how she is, grieving for the sons she has lost, and it was a tribute to him. So, there are happenings which have inspired, or which have made this happen, commissions. Then at Serendipity Festival in Goa, we opened with, because that year the theme was rivers. So we opened with Turel, the sacred river. And of course, I love working with elements, so Prithvi and Agni.
Agni, yes.
And
परिपूरसि स यदि देवेषु गच्छति अग्निर्होता कविक्रतुः सप्तश्रवस्तमः देवो देवी विरागतम् ॐ यदङ्गर्वाशुषे त्वमग्ने भद्रं करिष्यसि तमेतत् सत्यमन्दिरः उपत्वाग्ने दिवे दिवे देशावस्तदेवया वयम् नमो भरन्तये वसि नाजन्तमध्वराणाम् गोपामृतस्य दिवे दिवम् वर्धमानं स्वेनमे ॐ अग्निवीरे पुरोहितं यज्ञस्य देवं ऋत्विजं होतारं लक्ष्मणानमम् ॐ अग्निवीरे ईजे पुरोहितं यजस देवं ऋत्विजं होतारं लक्ष्मणानमम् अग्निवीजे अग्निवीजे ईजे पुरोहितं ईजे पुरोहितं यजस पुरोहितं यजस देवं यजस देवं ऋत्विजं देवं
again, all within 3 weeks, Agni was done. It was happened within 3 weeks, and I had the real one real pandit, chanting the shlokas. So all this happened really with a lot of experiences, real life experiences. It took place. Yeah.
Next question is that you talked about Thangta, and at Tanjika also you have included Thangta in your curriculum. So what is the inspiration, and also how do you, it is a very ritualistic form, right? So how do you incorporate this into your choreographies?
Yeah. See, I was here guided by, my initial training was with Oja Gaurkishore Sharma. But my a lot of guidance was given to me by Pandit Khelchandra Singh, because he was the scholar. And he told me that, look, whatever I did, I first ran it by him. I mean, I would ask him. So something which was very ritualistic, like for example, in Surya Gati, we use the chant, which is a general chant, uh, the pana, as you call it, in the Thangka, which is a general. But there is different pana for morning sun, midday sun, night sun. So he said that you'll be doing this performance in the evening anytime. So you can't then, just use any chant. So use the general. So this was the way we worked. We worked with advice from them. And another thing was that, you see, I also removed the boundaries. I didn't want to put everything in a compartment. That, Raslila is one compartment, Sankirtan is one compartment, Lai Haraba is one compartment, Thangta.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's all from one region. It has a link. Everything has a link. So let's use that link. And that's how I, started working. I opened my mind. I broke the boundaries so that we could, have a larger vocabulary to work with, and not just limited, because, just one form gets one style gets limited in its own way. So that was the idea to do it. And it came naturally also in the productions.
And I really, it resonates with me a lot, the vocabulary part that you talked about. And I really think that Manipuri dance has such amazing, rich movement vocabulary, right? You can take it from Lai Haraba, you can take it from Thangta, and it can suit different moods and different presentations that you want to do. So I think that way we are very lucky to be working with the different aspects of Manipuri dance.
Yeah, no, and then as I, as I grew older, we there were a lot of other styles. Like I have, partnered with Bharti Shivaji and Leela Sampson and all of them in there.
Yes.
But I never felt the need to use their movements in my choreography.
Yes.
See, like other, like you see that a lot of people are taking other styles and merging with their styles. That I didn't need because we were anyway very rich within our own. We have a very rich culture, so there was
Yes.
no need to
Yes.
look outside.
Absolutely. There's no need at all.
You see, actually, the first time we used Thanta is in Chitrangada, in Chitra, where Shruti and me had done.
Mm.
So the whole Kurupa part was in the Thanta style.
Tanta. Yes.
Pure Thanta. I mean, there the movements were also Thanta. So that is when we first started.
Yeah. So, Preeti, another part of your work, which I personally admire very much, is the work that you've done with special children. So, can you tell us a little bit about your experience working with them and what prompted you to take up this?
Uh, Oshali, I must say that we were, you, me, all of us, were given very strict training by Guruji, Guru Bipin Singh. And it was strict, I mean, in the sense that perfectionism, he was a perfectionist. So the hand should be this way, that way, and your body should be this slim. And then, his mastery over Natya Shastra. So when you sat with him, of what a dancer should look like, what a dancer should, she should have this kind of eyes and, long hair and all that. So I remember that a very dear friend of ours, family friend, Mrs. Sujata Parekh, she was volunteering at Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy in Taratota. So she said that why don't you just come one day and do something with the children? So I went, and they're extreme. I mean, there was, degree of disability. So I mean, the disabilities in some was too severe, and I said that on one hand, I have come from the background where everything should be perfect, and here, how will I teach them? I don't know how to teach them because we were taught in a very strict, guru cool manner. So then 6 months I tried and I almost gave up, And I remember I said, this is my last day. So I was, sitting very sadly in the room with all the children. And they were in the wheelchair. Some could only move the neck. Some could only move because cerebral palsy can get very, difficult. So uh, suddenly, one girl got up and put on the music of her choice in the tape recorder. And suddenly there was a burst of movement in the room. Everyone moves differently. The girl who could only move her neck was just moving her neck. Someone was just doing this. But it was a burst of movement, and that's it. Again, with me, things happen. I mean, strike me like that. Then what am I doing? So they taught me how to teach them.
Mm.
It was not my last day, and that's then developed the whole system which I follow. That first is the warm up, then is structured movement, and then it is free movement, and then comes counseling. So the whole thing came from there. And then of course I got the Fulbright fellowship, so I could go to Boston and study more. And also I was sharing with them the experience of working with an Indian dance form. So so there was an exchange of ideas between us. And then I decided that again, no boundaries. Why should it be only dance? It should be dance, music, theater, puppetry, everything. So broke those boundaries, and it came under expressive art therapies. And that's how we work now in the center. So, it's very interesting. Sometime I'll ask you to come and see. If we are working on something, say one girl comes up with a story. She's written a story. So then someone will, suggest, okay, and we do the music. Then someone will say, let's do it through puppets. So they'll make the puppets, or they'll make some. So at IICP, they would also make the props. So so of course assisted by teachers, but whatever. So the whole experience of expressive art therapies, where dance was primary, ended up in a production. So that's how we work. So now we work, I go to IICP once in 2 years to do a production, and it is actually over 6 months of training where this production takes place. So because of course of my time also, so twice a week I go, but so that's how we work as a project. So it becomes a project. Yeah. But this is, and you, sorry, I just will mention one thing. So when this lockdown happened last year in March, I don't know what happened to me. I just told the teachers that, look, I think that we should not close any class. You carry on with it, because the children will get very depressed, especially these children. So since then they're continuing.
Oh, okay.
Since then, so that is the sincerity, of course, of the parents and the child who look forward to these sessions. So it's an amazing experience with them.
No, it's just wonderful. I think the entire concept of bringing the expressive arts therapy and the work that you're doing. So, Preeti, the next question: what, according to you, has been your greatest achievement in Manipuri dance?
See, awards are there, of course, and when the Sangeet Natak Academy Award came in, it was, really something which I couldn't believe that in Manipuri dance when they gave it, you see. So that was, of course, there. But I'll tell you, more than that is all there, and I'm very thankful for that. But you see, I remember when we were doing this the solo repertoire with Guruji, you know, and I remember we were presenting it at the NCPA Bombay, and after the whole thing, the last item was Bajigar Khel. So after 1.5 hours, it was, and I was so annoyed. I remember for one, I mean, none of us used to get so tired, you know, at that time. So never did Guruji ever say, you know, कि आज ठीक हुआ, आज अच्छा हुआ. हाँ, थोड़ा इधर उधर हो सकता था, कुछ ऐसा हो सकता था, you know. And Vaishnav would say, "Arey, babe, sometimes so she took my side. She said, well, you know, it's not easy to do this, and you're ending it with Bajikar Khel, and please, you know, at least some credit, you know, something you say." So it was, you know, again, I don't know, but this is something which if you want to, I remember the times when he would say, "Aaj acha." So that was a big award for me, you know. And similarly, when the other gurus, you see, like whenever, when we did the solo repertoire in Manipur, it was, you know, on Ekadashi day, because that day all the gurus are free. So he invited all the gurus, and they all gave me a certificate. You see, so these are very, very important awards for me. And of course, after whenever a guru comes backstage, or you know, to meet you, and to which happened in Manipur very often, it was something which were very important.
So last question, Preeti, what do you think is the future for Manipuri dance, and do you see any new work or new choreographies or anything new that you are seeing which is which you like, and which is giving you some inspiration?
See, I'll be very frank that there is a lot of work happening. And I always believe that a lot of work should happen. Good or bad, let the audience decide. Yeah. So it is, I've always had a very open mind to it. I never judge anyone by saying that, oh, that person is not good or that. No. As long as it is, you know, done with sincerity, you know, it can. So I remember, I mean, seeing Bimba's work, and very, very, I mean, refreshingly seeing your work. It's not because I'm sitting in front of you, but it's because, you know, I really felt that there was a lot of thought in it. There was a lot of, sincerity in what you were doing. So this, I feel that there are all of you there who have a, you know, who are, I mean, you are all in your prime that way. So to take it forward and to do much more new. You see, this form has always suffered in a way that everybody has a different, outside. In Bengal, it's very popular because of Tagore. But, and also that, you know, we find that the bodies of Bengali girls have more, you know, lyricism, which adapts to this. But somehow it hasn't taken off so much of popularity in the south or the north. So whenever, you know, there's always a thing, oh, it is so slow and all that. It's not that. It has its own beauty, but the way the beauty has to be portrayed, that is the important part. You have to keep the essence. Just because, you know, you're competing with Kathak doesn't mean that you get into that mold. You see, and that's the I feel where we have to be very careful. We have to be careful to retain our special feature, which this form is known for. You know, so that is something which I felt, and that you know, a lot of dancers have to keep in mind.
So, Preeti,
Yes, yes.
thanks a lot for this wonderful insights and stories and your journey. Of course, it is always an inspiration. I have always told you I've been your fan. I'm still your fan, and I take a lot of inspiration from the work that you've done. And I'm sure that all the young and aspiring Manipuri dancers who are watching today, they will also feel inspired by your journey, and we'll have many more people really dedicating their lives to Manipuri dance. So thanks again. Thanks from the bottom of my heart and from all the members of Nandanik for spending so much time with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll call you Bully. Thank you, Bully, so much for this. But also, I must say that I also love what you're doing. And it is a pleasure to see and pleasure to know that Nandanik has reached 25 years. And you know that it's a milestone. And it has not just happened like that. There's been a lot of hard work. And I have seen, and I wish I could see more of your work, which I will, because now I think I'll have more time and I'll make you share it with me.
Definitely.
But thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. Thanks very much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and looking forward to more brilliant choreographies and work from you. And your book, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will be in touch. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
सर्गस्थिति विनाशानां जगतो यो जगन्मयः भूलभूतो न समतस्मै विष्णवे परमात्मने आधारभूतं विश्वस्याप्यणीयां समनीयसा प्रणम्य सर्वभूतस्थम् अच्युतं पुरुषोत्तमम् ज्ञानस्वरूपम् अत्यन्तनिर्मलम् परमार्थतः त्वमेवार्थ स्वरूपेण भ्रान्तिदर्शनतः स्थितम् विष्णुग्रसिष्णु विश्वस्य स्थितो सर्गे तथा प्रभुं प्रणम्य जगताम् ईशान् अजम अक्षय अव्ययम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय.
Thank you very much for being with us on this episode of Khonthang Discourses. Good evening.